Good morning and welcome to a special edition of a Daybreak on Trust TV. As you can see, or as you can tell, it is our 1 year anniversary. You know, a lot of, sweat and tears has actually been put into, what you see today. And if I do say so myself, it's been quite an exciting ride. We started this last year and so far, we've actually gone really, really far because if you look at it, there are lots of other stations that actually started, but where are they today? So we just, give God the glory and we thank God for making it possible for us to witness our 1 year anniversary and hopefully, we'll witness many, many more years. This is Trust TV and we're live in the Federal Capital Territory. My name is Darshan Husseina Usman. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you very much, Darshan, for that elaborate anniversary, anniversary speech. That's really exciting. I can see the excitement. We're all excited. We're all happy. And it's been a really beautiful 1 year.
Yes.
And I believe our viewers will agree with us that it's been really, really eventful. It's been worth the while. And we are all happy that Trust TV is turning 1 today. And give us some cheers.
Happy anniversary to us, by the way. We're super excited.
And we thank you also for, remaining faithful, remaining sticking every morning to us. And it is because
not
of
just
you.
every morning, every day, every afternoon,
Exactly.
every night. This dream actually started with one, one person, and now we're proud to say that we are one big family, and we hope to bring to you nothing but the best of documentary and news on Trust TV.
Yeah, that's really wonderful, as you said, Husseina, and. Of course, what I was saying also is that it is because of the viewers that we are here. We are here to serve you, and in the coming years, we hope to perform even much better so that we remain faithful to you and just like you are to us. Good morning once again. Also, my name is Abdulaziz. Welcome to another edition of Daybreak on Trust TV.
All right, so let's move on to, the highlights at this hour. IGP orders CPS to beef up security around hospitals, schools. Terrorists on the run as Air Force bombs Niger Kaduna hideouts. We also have Premier League. Awoni fires Nottingham Forest to season's first win. And we'll move on to the details of the story right about now. The Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, on Sunday directed all commissioners of police across the 36 states of the Federation, as well as the Federal Capital Territory, to deploy watertight security arrangements to protect hospitals and health workers. Baba, who gave this directive while reviewing the general security situation of the nation via reports from commands and formations across the country, also ordered heads of police in the states to ensure schools and other critical national infrastructures in their domain are secured. The police chief specifically ordered the CPS to ensure that their regular patrols, stop and search, raids and show of force by tactical commanders to clamp down on crime being recorded in some states of the Federation. The chief superintendent of police, Olumuyiwa Dejobi, who is the spokesman of the police force, disclosed this via a statement. He explained that the strategic police managers at various levels were also charged to prioritize the use of intelligence gathering networks, particularly traditional and local intelligence, to locate criminal hideouts and flush them out before they strike.
Meanwhile, scores of terrorists in Kaduna and Niger states are currently on the run following offensive operation carried out by officers of the Nigerian Air Force. The bombardment of terrorist enclaves is coming on the heels of a fresh marching order given to the service chief by President Muhammadu Buhari. The Army, Navy, and Air Force had immediately rejigged their operations, including redeployment of their various top commanders in order to tackle raging insecurity in the country. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Oladayo Amao, had, while launching Operation Show No Mercy against marauding terrorists, charged the senior air troops to ensure that they employ maximum firepower.
And away from that, Story in sports, Taiwo Awoniyi's first half goal helped secure Nottingham Forest's first Premier League win since 1999 as the Reds defeated West Ham United 1-0 at the City Ground on Sunday afternoon. Making two changes from the opening day defeat at Newcastle United, Jack Colback was an enforced change through illness and was replaced by Aurel Mangala for his first start in the Garibaldi, whilst Awoniyi replaced Sam Surridge. Forests were forced to withstand late pressure from the visitors, with Williams displaying fine defending once more to deny Kurt Zuma on the line in the close stages and ensure the Reds' clean sheet remained intact. And with this, we have come to the end of the highlights at this hour. Now, before we move on to more packages, now, you know, yesterday, today, it's been raining all through. And whether you like it or not, some places, some villages, some communities will be flooded. And aside from that, you know, it seems like in the FCT, a lot of drivers do not know how to drive while it's raining, because on my way to work, I saw a lot of cars skidded off the road in gutters, you know, on culverts, you know, everywhere.
Well, you know, the FCT drivers have reputation for notoriety for not knowing how to drive. But of course, when it rains, it's usually bad.
Different.
And it's very bad when it rains, and it has been like that. You know, for a long time, every time it rains, especially at night, you see a lot of vehicles in the gutters and all that. That's
so you know, we understand that raining, rains also blur your vision. So you need to be careful. You know, you don't have to speed. And talking about it, FCT drivers love to speed as long as they see there's space, as long as there's no vehicle in front.
They are tickled by the good roads, so a lot of people.
It's very possible.
Yeah, so and that is why when accidents happen, and I think it's only somehow in the FCT that you see accident within city centers claiming lives because of the impact, because of the speed. So people drive it at a very high speed, and therefore any little thing it becomes catastrophic.
So you need to be careful. You only have one life, and your life matters as well. So drive safely, okay?
I think moving on to more news, the National Commission for Colleges of Education has nominated the College of Education Gombe as part of for the implementation of the early grade reading program. The early grade reading program is to train teachers on how to teach children mother tongue and English language at the basic level. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
Speaking during an assessment visit to the FCET Gombe, the Executive Secretary, National Commission for Colleges of Education, Professor Paulinus Chijoke, said his team is satisfied by the level of preparedness at the FCET Gombe to kickstart the early grade reading program.
Well, from what we have seen, we can see the readiness of the college to kickstart this project. We are very impressed with what we have seen, and I assure you that to go back and make our reports and send to the relevant authority in no distant time, the project will kickstart in this place, just like other ones.
The Provost, Federal College of Education, Technical Gombe, Dr. Ali Adamu Boderi, assured to ensure successful implementation of the project.
I want to seize this opportunity to show our appreciation to our able ES for finding us worthy to kickstart or to implement the EGR model program. In fact, I think we remain indebted to him. And I want to assure him that Federal College of Education Technical Gombe, we are ready. You have seen that we are ready to kickstart the implementation of the program. I want to assure you once again that we are going to support the program 100%. Thank you, sir.
Dr. Jamil Minkaila is the Dean School of Early Childhood Care and Primary Education, FCET Gombe.
We have a problem of reading ability or literacy as far as our education system is concerned. The problem is that we used to have children that finished their first school, that is primary school, but you will see them having difficulty in reading both English and the mother tongue texts. Somebody who has attended such primary school before graduation should be able to read and write in English language and his mother tongue.
The Federal College of Education, Technical Gombe, is expected to start implementation of the early grade reading program in no distant future. Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Holiday schooling is also known as summer school or lessons have become popular among parents and teachers in Nigeria. Now, in it, parents arrange for students to continue attending classes during long holidays, which are meant to be rest periods for children. In this report, we attempt to provide answers to the appropriateness or not of these classes at the time children are supposed to be taking a break. The report.
For Tokula Florence, a teacher with a private school in Makurdi, there is some level of continuity in learning that goes on as a result of summer school. This, she argues, will not allow the children to forget what has been learned due to the length of the break.
They are here, they keep themselves up to date in their studies. By the time they resume back to school, most of the things that are being taught, they are the topics, new topics introduced to them, getting into their new classes. So whenever they resume, they don't find it difficult in picking up their studies.
The pupil in one of the summer schools in Makurdi says he is happy to learn at this time. He also says he will do better than his mates who are on holidays without classes.
I'm here for summer lesson. This is St. Teresa Private School. I'm here to learn. If schools resume, you know more about, well, like if the teacher teach you now, you know what like the teacher teach you a new topic, they taught you the topic on the summer lesson, you are going to remember it, your brain will be fast at work.
To some, the summer school is an abuse on the pupils. This set agrees with curriculum planners that pupils should rest at some point, noting that continuous learning without a break can cause a strain on the mental well-being of the pupils.
Those who plan the curriculum, they are not wrong, or they have not done anything bad by making it in such a way that it will get to a time that children will be given a time or a period for them to rest at home.
To strike a balance in the holiday summer learning argument, some are of the opinion that the government should wade into and regulate the use of the long holiday period to ensure that pupils not only learn but also rest during the long holiday period.
When you are away from home and they are at home playing, they may start thinking and going some other places that you wouldn't like as a parent. So I encourage there should be summer lessons.
The argument for or against summer lessons, many say, will continue to generate mixed reactions until a balance is reached, maybe through government intervention.
Days after reopening Abuja's largest park, desperate fun seekers yearning to unwind at the weekend at the famous Millennium Park were seen defying cold, rainy morning to access the facility. Trust TV's Shapil Suleiman captures the moment some of the fun seekers dared the heavy downpour to relax after the busy working day. The report.
Behind me is the entrance of the Millennium Park. You know, a park that was conceived, designed and constructed some 22 years ago here in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, to provide avenue for fun seekers, you know, to find time, you know, to relax and of course after the day's job. It also create or rather provide an avenue for Abuja residents, you know, to, carry out various, you know, ceremonies like picnics, like birthday parties and what have you. But it was shut down, you know, on the 21st of December 2020 as a result, you know, of the COVID-19 pandemic. You know, since it was shut down, Abuja residents have been finding it a little bit difficult, you know, to access this facility and of course find time to relax. But now that the ban has been lifted precisely on the 1st of August this year, fun seekers are trooping in spite of the weather. For instance, today has been a rainy day, very chilly, and of course as the rain still drizzles, you find people coming in to catch fun or to have one or two events for themselves and their friends. But then they are also concerned about some of the guidelines that have been provided as a result of the COVID interventions, if you like, or restrictions. We'll talk to one of them here to tell us how exactly they are funding this regulation.
This is a period where the children are on holiday, and of course, having stayed in school for quite a number of weeks, I think that the period they are home, they need to have some time for relaxation, and of course, that is the basis why we felt as family we should come out here to have the serene, enjoy the serene weather, and have ourselves relaxed under this very nice atmosphere of Millennium Park. On arriving here, we were told that each person were required to present their evidence of vaccination of COVID-19 vaccine. And of course, it became a thing of a surprise to all of us, because when it was officially declared open, we never knew about this guideline. It was just on arrival to this place that was made known to us.
I am very since the weather is the rain is drizzling now, so it will be more fun.
Of course, it shows that they are really interested in accessing this facility anytime, any day. The shutdown that took place for over 2 years must have put them on the edge, and now they are hungry, to visit this facility once again. From Millennium Park in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News.
The charcoal shed of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos, has witnessed increased illicit drug activity in the last few weeks, and the United Arab Emirates seems to be the destination of choice. Officers of the NDLEA have uncovered no fewer than 442 parcels of crystal methamphetamines concealed in heads of fish. The anti-drug agency also intercepted 1.4 kilograms of cannabis concealed inside granulated melon and crayfish and packed among other food condiments. The report.
Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency NDLEA intercepted no fewer than 442 parcels of crystal methamphetamine concealed in heads of fish meant for export to Dubai. 32-year-old Paul Adekunle was promptly arrested upon the discovery that the 7 cartons he presented for export, weighing 11.90 kilograms, contained parcels of the dangerous drug wrapped in foil paper and concealed in the heads of hundreds of smoked catfish. The anti-drug agency also intercepted 1.45 kilograms of cannabis concealed inside granulated melon and crayfish and packed among other food condiments going to Dubai, arresting 39-year-old freight agent Ajishefini Latif, who presented the cargo for export at the Sako shed. Away from Lagos, anti-narcotic officers at the Akanu Ibiam International Airport, Enugu, arrested 50-year-old Victor Gbegbuna following his arrival from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, on board an Ethiopian airline flight. Gbegbuna had ingested 77 pellets of cocaine and passed out the illicit drugs in 8 excretions spanning 4 days. In Kaduna, 3 suspects, Saifullah Hisani, Salis Nafiu, and Abdulrazak Mamma, were arrested in Zaria with 1,112,350 tablets of tramadol, weighing 38.3 kilograms. While in Kanu, a female drug dealer, Sarit Abdullahi, was nabbed with 541 blocks of cannabis, weighing 245 kilograms. Chairman, Chief Executive of the NDLEA, Muhammad Buba Marwa, commended the officers and men of the agency for the seizures and arrests and urged them to always stay a step ahead of the drug cartels.
Art speaks the language everyone understands. It speaks through painting, sculpture, or drawing. Artists can say things that words sometimes cannot say. In this report, Trust TV's Kabir Lawal examines the importance of art and how youth can be self-reliant through engaging in work of arts. The report.
Art is viewed as important because it's a way of documenting and preserving history. Historic art tells a story about society and how cultures evolve, given insight and different perspectives. From billboards, street signs, and art tells story too. Whether it's advertising or purely for appreciation, creativity is everywhere. Stanley Chima, who makes a card in Abuja, said the work of art has been keeping food on the table for him. despite the economic situation in the country. He further said if the youth can bring out the talent in them, it will go a long way to make them contribute their quota to the upliftment of the country.
When I first learn about the card, I feel motivated about the work, and everything about it is giving me joy. The way we place our artwork, the way we place the artwork, I really like it. So I'm very motivated to do more, so that I will bring out the best I can. In this our country now, we will not rely on one source. The advice I would advise to my fellow youth is that they should look for handwork that will fetch them money, and they should focus on it.
Stanley Chima also added that the art is a great way to calm yourself and decrease stress levels, calling on government and well-to-do individuals to complement youth's effort to be more productive.
The federal government should please and encourage we the youth that are looking for work to have something to survive, because some of our youth are on the street doing some kind of things which is not common. So I would advise the government to come outside and encourage us and create job opportunity for us.
From these accounts, the importance of arts cannot be overemphasized in any given society. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
All right, with this, we'll take a quick breather, and when we return, it will be time for the newspaper analysis and also the newspaper review. Do stick around.
With me today is the Governor of Kano State, His Excellency Dr. Umar Abdullahi Ganduji.
First of all, I have to congratulate you, the Media Trust, that has given birth to the Daily Trust, and now the Media Trust is giving another birth to Trust TV.
My guest today is the Executive Governor of Plateau State, His Excellency Simon Bako Lalong.
Thank you very much, and also opportunity, and I congratulate you for introducing the television because Daily Trust has always been my people.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you.
Every patriotic Nigerian should hear this. Any politician who means well for the people will never allow themselves or their supporters to engage in any violent, destructive activities. No politician who truly wants to serve the people and develop the nation will encourage his followers to destroy properties or take human lives before, during, or after the elections. The Nigerian public must watch out for these traits and isolate any politician who encourages supporters to engage in violence. No genuine politician or patriot will cause trouble and seek to destroy the very society which they aspire to lead or develop. Politicians who have the good of the people at heart will not allow themselves or their followers to engage in violence, destruction of properties, and then taking of lives. Be vigilant. By their words you shall know them. Shun violence. Stay away from politicians who want you to do so. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NORA.
necessarily tribal or regional.
All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you're watching Trust TV and this is Daybreak. It's now time for the newspaper review and analysis, and we already have our guest in the studio, and the person is Ali M. Ali, Deputy President, Nigerian Guild of Editors, joining us, to review the papers this morning. Good morning and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Husseina. Good morning, Abdulaziz. It's good to be here.
All right, so okay, it's good to have you. All right, so what we'll be doing today, we'll start with a Daily Trust newspaper. This is what we will be starting off with, and yes, on the lead story today, we have 140 days after federal government loses 3 billion naira on halted Kaduna-Abuja train service. We have riders that says, I closed my shop, laid off staff, says restaurateur. Clear terrorist cells to ease resumption, says security experts. And then how disruption will affect loan payment. And then right below that, you have an infograph of, of everything that has actually happened, in that 140 days, that the Kaduna-Abuja train service, has been halted. How 3.02 billion naira has been lost. The minimum revenue per trip is 2.7 million naira. Total revenue is 21.6 million naira. And total revenue in 1 week is 151.1 million naira. And total loss in the last 4 months since train services were suspended, is accumulated to about 600 million naira monthly. So if you want to, get an idea of what this particular story says, you feel free to grab a copy of Daily Trust newspaper. We also have more stories. APC Muslim ticket, shun sentiments, vote quality leaders, says Idowu Ferron. You also have 50 killed, many displaced as flood wreaks havoc in Jigawa. Then many terrorists killed in Niger, Kaduna airstrikes as well. These are some of the stories that can be found, in Daily Trust newspaper.
Okay, and let's go to another newspaper, or should we, let's perhaps get your take on some of these stories, Madam Ali. It's been 140 days, the attack of March 28th this year, where terrorists attacked the Abuja-Kaduna train service, abducted many, killed some, and the government subsequently shut down the train service. It has been 140 days that the service has not worked, and you can see the liability. What are your thoughts now that there have been clamor for return of the service and the government saying there is no security infrastructure in place and all that? What are your thoughts around this?
Well, let me just say the story today is in tradition of the Daily Trust. I think every Monday they have this exclusive story, deep, in-depth. They go out of the usual, the routine. And normally Mondays are dry days for virtually all the newspapers. It's one day that you don't buy a newspaper and then you read all the stories. So I think Daily Trust is keeping in that tradition. And in any case, this story is one of these low-hanging fruits. I wonder why it took even the Daily Trust this long to do that kind of a story. Because it has been there literally low-hanging. Just go there, grab it, and it will make an interesting reading, like it engaged my attention all through. So, well, you see that the story captured the amount of losses. The nation is literally hemorrhaging. That is one corridor that was fetching the government and individuals in the system a lot of money. When I say individuals, we know the amount of ticket racketeering going on in the Lagos, in the Abuja-Kaduna corridor, the rail service, and with the destruction or with the sabotage that happened on March 28 or thereabout, you see the amount of money be lost. Even that, I think, is merely a tip of the iceberg. These are projected revenue. But in actual revenue, you find out that the government has always been shortchanged. Even on the day of the attack, there are still conflicting. If you go by the manifest. There are still conflicting
Figures,
claims. Yes, figures. So you see, a lot of resources, I mean, are being lost to the government, and for a service, for a corridor that was paid for mainly by foreign loan, expected to pay back. When you take loans, loans, no problem with doing that. Every
lender,
precisely, we expect his money to be returned. And it's only because he's investing in something that is viable. And the rail corridor between Abuja and Lagos is a very viable, let me use past tense, was a very viable until when we put it to test, then we look at the leaks, the loopholes, the leakages because of racketeering. One, the government has taken so many steps to check that. But the Nigerian racketeer is 2 steps ahead of government. And sometimes there is clear connivance. This is not different from what's happening in the oil sector. We cited over and over the amount of theft in the oil sector. Only recently, I think a couple of days ago, the Minister of State Petroleum and even the group MD of the newly unveiled NNPC company lamented the amount of oil theft and how much revenue the government is losing because of oil theft. This is no different from oil theft. Now, if you look at also associated, I mean, closely associated to the rail, small businesses, like I think it's captured there, restaurateurs, drivers, taxis, other services that drive their livelihood, source of livelihood because of the rain, because there is a value chain there, have been disrupted. And a lot of Nigerians will be pushed into the job market. So really, this is an eye-opener. You can understand why Nigeria is broke. They are similar, well, maybe to a lesser extent. You find replication of this very worrisome losses. Government is losing money, and you can see that bandits, terrorists, insurgents are compelling Nigerians to leave. They have altered our way of life completely. But you can say, perhaps, terms of for the government, of late, it has been on the offensive to flush out and to make Nigerians feel safe. Maybe perhaps
that's actually the next question I was actually going to ask, because a writer here talks about, clearing terrorist cells to ease resumption. But do you think Nigerians will be able to trust, the government or even the train services enough, to be able to patronize them, even after all, the terrorist cells have been cleared?
Normally, citizens worldwide rarely trust government because, especially in third world countries, there is always a deep-seated mistrust. And I use this word knowingly, deep-seated, because government in third world countries, because of the nature they are being run, one of the attributes of that you earn trust is transparency and accountability. Most third world countries don't, third world governments rarely do that, especially in Africa. So the question whether Nigerians would trust the rail service or trust the government, especially given the government track record of, if you like, some will say, critics will say, abysmal lack of, record when it comes to security. People will be skeptical whether to trust the government. But you see, Nigerians don't have much alternative. It's either the deep blue sea or the devil, between the rock and a hard place. This is the choice we are confronted with. One would have thought that given the notoriety of the Kaduna-Abuja trunk route, highway, a lot of people will not apply it. Notwithstanding that there have been mountain of security, patrol, the patrols have been intensified. You see all the time. You can't avoid going there unless you are not from the northern part of the country. And you can, for example, afford to fly. Most people cannot afford to fly. Well, in any case, if you're going to Kaduna, where would you fly to? Kano, then drive back to Kaduna? So it's counterproductive. It will be eaten deep into your resources. So Nigerians are compelled to ply that route. And unfortunately, because, like I said, you are sandwiched between the rock and hard place, between the devil and the blue sea. So what do? You say your prayers and then you go, perhaps some people will say, on the journey of no return. Literally, because every now and again you hear all these
Stories of
breaches happening all the time. But you must give it to the government of late. Yes, they're trying their best, but the thing is so deep-seated, is so that is not enough to apply the stick. Yeah, you apply the stick, but even to what extent have we applied the stick? There is instances, because see, the crime, the banditry is so deep-seated now. You begin to wonder, because you have insiders, you have family members compromising the security of their family members. We've heard stories of how nephews, cousins,
serve as informants.
Precisely.
Well, that's been really challenging.
So
and,
it's quite challenging.
Exactly.
So whether Nigerians will trust it, we don't have any choice. Yes. We're just waiting for it to come back, and then we go, because it saves us money, and then we've gotten used to some of these things.
Well, that's very interesting thing that you've said. So let's move to another paper. But just before that, there is this story of the Anglican priest, a senior Anglican priest, Ido Ferron, saying that Nigerians should forget sentiments and vote quality leaders. He was reacting to the furor about the Muslim ticket of the APC, and in which he was saying that he is really embarrassed by the debates about all these same faith or different faiths and all that tickets. What's your thoughts about this, especially in the light of recent happenings?
Well, I think I must say that he spoke truly like a man of God, who has a deeper understanding of the problems of Nigeria. Nigeria's problem is not actually religion. It's far more deep-seated, because if you go by it, the segmentation will never end. So, but you see, like I've always said, I have opposed repeatedly on forums like this. I've written about it, about the idea of a same-faith ticket, given our complexity and diversity, and given the fact that people up to this moment, they express their fulfillment or lack of it through faith. And that shouldn't be so, because most of the things, like I think Obasanjo once argued that, look, it's about time we get a man-fearing leader, not a God-fearing leader. What we mean is that let people respect the checks, constitutional provisions, legal provisions, and then you have an egalitarian society. When you have, this is an argument that perhaps I share. So when you say looking at quality, this is the argument the APC put forward. And you look at competence. Really, you look at it, really, what is even that? Competence, capacity, these are, well, subjective terms, if you like, at the level of political leadership. But one of the things I understand should be competent enough, capacity is knowledge. About time we have leadership that is knowledgeable. Singapore and other Asian tigers, and then newly influential state at the turn of the 1980s, 1970s, was basically because of knowledge. And we have what we have now, contemporary times. Knowledge drives economy, knowledge-driven economy. We've got moved past the stage of where Abdulaziz knows Ali, Ali knows Husseina, and then you get somewhere. No, it's what you know now. It's not so much who you know, but what you know. So if that argument, going by his argument, for competence, then you look at what are the options. But are Nigerians even knowledgeable enough? Not people like you and I here in the studio, relatively informed. The people at the bottom of the social ladder who are diseased, ignorant, the only thing they know is religious and cultural solidarity, identification. You understand? Up to this moment, we practice the politics of identity. That identity could be cultural, could be religious, and more often than not, we've seen it instances. But you see, like we said, if you go in both the major language and even animist, there are also sects. How do you reconcile that? But like I always say, if the shoe is on the other foot, if Nigerians, for example, now, would they accept a Christian ticket? And then you have in the leading party. But then there are other options. The PDP is there, the Labour Party is there, the NNPP is there. So if you look at it, but are Nigerians informed enough to do that to this moment? This is the question, Abdulaziz, we should be asking. And this is where perhaps most of the parties, they have to do a lot of homework to educate their supporters and their followers.
Well, yeah, actually, I agree with you that we need a lot of voter education, citizens mobilization, and engagement. Well, it's been Daybreak on Trust TV, and we've been reviewing the newspapers, today's papers, with the Deputy President of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, Ali M. Ali. We'll take a short break, and the show continues when we come back.
To every politician, as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise, remember, the errors of your opponents do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve the sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels, leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news, or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being above board, by being civil, patriotic, and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
With me today is the Governor of Kano State, His Excellency Dr. Umar Abdullahi Ganduji.
First of all, I have to congratulate you, the media trust that has given birth to the Daily Trust, and now the media trust is giving another birth to Trust TV.
My guest today is the Executive Governor of Plateau State, His Excellency Simon Bako Lalong.
Thank you very much, and also opportunity, and I congratulate you for introducing the television because Daily Trust has always been my people.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you.
But in a situation where you find that they look like the same,
not necessarily tribal or regional.
I have said that.
Welcome back. You are still tuned to Trust TV from Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, and the program is Daybreak. And we've been reviewing today's newspapers with our guest in the studio, Deputy President of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, Ali M. Ali. We continue the review with today's edition of This Day newspaper. And let me quickly go through the front page. The main story says, Wike's camp insists Ayu's ouster irreducible condition for peace, demands to pick choice of successor, urges Mark to speak up since his chairman's resignation letter. His chairman's resignation letter. Atiku points gloomy picture of Nigeria, describes current statistics as grim, disappointing. PDP group dismisses Tinubu's presidency as Buhari's third term. And on top of the page, NNPC limited debt to FG states hits 1.055 trillion in 6 months. Pipeline security maintenance gulp 8.35 billion in 1 month. Saudi Aramco's revenue surge 90%, climbed to 48.4 billion in Q2. And below that, FG $400 million required to complete abandoned tower, Millennium Tower. Story on page 10 of today's This Day. And just below there, masthead, Peter Said, first year of Nigeria's next president may be about blood, sweat, tears. Story on page 50. Police launch grand offensive against criminals nationwide. Orders tight security around schools, hospitals, public infrastructure. NAV fighter jets hit terrorist enclave in Niger. So these are some of the stories in today's This Day newspaper. Well, since we'll be discussing later in the next hour with Mala Ali about politics, maybe we'll take a break from this story on Wiki and the ongoing fight in the PDP. Let's look at this story of NNPC, owing the federal government. Particularly, I'm interested in this saying pipeline security and maintenance gov 8.35 billion in 1 month. If you juxtapose this with the hemorrhaging case rise in oil theft, how do you reconcile these two? Spending 8.35 billion in just a month to secure the pipelines, and also the fact that, as we mentioned earlier in the program, the NNPC and oil industry regulators are talking about how much we are losing to oil theft.
Well, all of this underscores the porosity of our security system, how weak the Nigerian state is when it comes to security matters. If you look at who are those saddled with pipeline security maintenance, apart from those who are statutorily responsible, like, for example, the NSDC, that is Nigeria Civil Defense. They're partly responsible for protection. But then, let me take you a little back to history. When the government of late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua struck the armistice with Niger Delta militants, leading to the establishment of the military of Niger Delta Affairs. Some of the repentant militants were actually given the contract for pipeline security. So now if you scrutinize this humongous amount of money, 8.5, you say, billion?
Yeah, 8.5 billion naira.
Every month. That is too humongous. It's just like some people argue the subsidy scam, because it has turned out to be a scam now, given the humongous amount of money appropriated for subsidy for fuel not supplied or for fuel not consumed, which has been laid bare in the past when the House of Reps committee set up an ad hoc committee to probe that in I think the 7th Assembly or thereabout. Remember in the week, the chairman of the ad hoc committee himself was caught in the snare of the labyrinthine corruption that underlays the whole process. So now, if you look at this humongous 8.5 billion and couple with the fact that the NNPC or even the newly unveiled limited liability company is remitting zero to the federal allocation, zero remittance, then you know that somewhere the Nigerian state is even a lot weaker than we thought. Because if the state cannot police at this horrendous amount of money and then cannot check oil theft, and in any case, this oil theft, some of us have this strong suspicion, is not done in isolation. There are some people who are, just like they divert resources, they divert revenue accruable to the federal government. Even the TSA has not checked that. Well, yes. So you said that the Nigerians, it's showing that the Nigerian state is weaker than we thought. Or some people highly placed are part and parcel of this sleazed and this wanton, if you like, destruction of national assets.
Take a look at this story that talks about, police launching grand offensive against criminals nationwide. And, with the recent, airstrikes, by NAF in the enclaves of the terrorists, do we see an end to the insecurity soon, or this is just for the papers?
Well, it took a while before we got to this. This thing has festered for years, maybe years and years. Not today, not last year, not even 10 years ago. Because of the nature of, first, the Nigerian state over time. The Nigerian state, unfortunately, over time, has not really done the needful. What I mean the needful, give the enabling environment for individuals to flourish and realize their full potentials. And that's why we're having crime, the upsurge of crime. And then the coming of the glamorous, if you like, life of politicians. Politicians only yesterday, some of them were, if you look at it, mere paupers. Paupers, totally, literally. They go, and I'm not saying even at the federal level, at the local level. Instances of where a councillor who had not, I remember in 1999, someone who had not, a councillor representing his village somewhere, for the first time he had this humongous amount of money. And he literally went insane. It's there in 1999, it happened. I don't want to mention the state or the name, but it happened because he's never seen so much money. Now, 22 years later, you see the life, the flashy life, the grand life of politicians. That is not something. And then coupled with the fact that no punishment. You see people, convicted felons, given state pardon, and some of them are shameless enough to want to make a run for political office. So all this crime, yes, we may end the siege on the Nigerian state, but I don't see, unless the Nigerian state rethink and then give the enabling environment. Okay, for example, now how do you explain we have young people at home for upwards of 6-7 months doing nothing? They are not equipped to deal with life. They're still undergoing because of ASU strike, for example, partly. So we may end having sleeper cells of criminals in the forests, in the bushes. But how do you deal with the stark economic and then income inequality? Because of the Nigerian state, the environment is not enabling enough for people to flourish, to realize their individual potentials. Some people don't really want to go get PhDs. They just want to earn a living.
All right. Thank you so much for this in-depth analysis on the papers this morning, Ali M. Ali. But we have to actually wrap up here. But we still have you, for the next hour. So you have to sit tight. All right. So with this, we've come to the end of this hour on Trust TV. We'll take a quick break. And when we return at the top of the hour, we'll continue with the show. Do stick around.
But in a situation where you find that they look at the same,
not necessarily tribal or regional.
But I have said that.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, viewers. Welcome to another edition of Daybreak on Trust TV. And today is not just another day. Of course, it's another day, another Monday. But for us here at Trust TV, it is another.
It's a special day.
Not just another day, but also a special day. A day we are celebrating our 1-year anniversary. The baby that was born last year is 1 today, and we are seriously excited. We are happy, and we hope that you also are happy that we've been serving you, our viewers, for the past 1 year.
Yes,
and Usena, I don't know, it's been really an exciting journey.
Yeah, it's been exciting, bumpy, smooth, all in one. But we're here today, so, it says a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything, all the hard work that has been actually put into, making Trust TV what it is today. We're here, and we only hope to be better.
Exactly. We are hoping that we get better with time, and we hope we'll continue to serve you, and you continue to remain faithful with us. And as I said, I am Abdulaziz. Thank you for staying with us.
And I'm Darshan Husseina Usman. Thank you for joining us. Now let's move on to the highlights at this hour.
IGP orders CPs to beef up security around hospitals and schools nationwide.
Terrorists on the run as Air Force bombs Niger Kaduna hideouts.
Premier League, Awoni fires Nottingham Forest to season's first win.
All right, and moving on to the details. The Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, on Sunday directed all commissioners of police across the 36 states of the Federation, as well as the Federal Capital Territory, to deploy watertight security arrangements to protect hospitals and health workers. Baba, who gave the directive while reviewing the general security situation of the nation via reports from commands and formations across the country, also ordered heads of police in the state to ensure schools and other critical national infrastructures in their domain are secured. The police chief specifically ordered the CPS to ensure that their regular patrols, stop and search, raids and show of force by tactical commanders to clamp down on crime being recorded in some states of the Federation. The Chief Superintendent of Police, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, who is the spokesman of the police force, disclosed this via a statement. He explained that the strategic police managers at various levels were also charged to prioritize the use of intelligence gathering networks, particularly traditional and local intelligence, to locate criminal hideouts and flush them out before they strike.
Meanwhile, scores of terrorists in Kaduna and Niger State are currently on the run following offensive operation carried out by officers of the Nigerian Air Force. The bombardment of terrorist enclaves is coming on the heels of fresh marching order given to the service chiefs by President Muhammadu Buhari. The Army, Navy, and Air Force had immediately rejigged their operations, including redeployment of their various top commanders in order to tackle raging insecurity in the country. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Oladayo Amao, had, while launching Operation Show No Mercy against marauding terrorists, charged the senior air troops to ensure that they employ maximum firepower.
And in sports, Taiwo Awoniyi's first half goal helped secure Nottingham Forest's first Premier League win since 1999 as the Reds defeated West Ham United 1-0 at the City Ground on Sunday afternoon. Making two changes from the opening day defeat at Newcastle United, Jack Colback was an enforced change through illness and was replaced by Aurel Mangala for his first start in the Garibaldi, whilst Awoniyi replaced Sam Surridge. Forests were forced to withstand late pressure from the visitors, with Williams displaying fine defending once more to deny Kurt Zuma on the line in the closing stages and ensure the Reds' clean sheet remained intact.
Okay, moving on to more packages. The residents of Makodi in Benue State capital have, I beg your pardon, residents of Makodi, the Benue State capital, have expressed mixed reactions placed on over restrictions placed on motorcycle operation as also known as Okada in the state. The restriction to limit the operations of commercial motorcycles from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. was imposed by the state government, the report.
Benue State has not been spared the negative impact of motorcycle operations in recent times, hence the restriction in the operational hours of operators. A check around the city center reveals that while some say they have complied, others are still in the business beyond 8 p.m. against the government's order.
Duty of the security to arrest anybody who is violating the rule, because some policemen do work in the night. Or anything happening there, they will be replaced, or the name Okada will be implied using it as an Okada man. So if they arrest such a person, bring your ID card, where are you from, where are you working in the night? It will be very simple to clear this issue. But to me, I think I'm very, very, very much happy because our life is very important and our security too is very, very important.
Although workers in the state say the restriction is a good policy, they however noted that it does not favor those whose assignments run into the night.
Okada by 8 o'clock, to me as a person, I think is uncalled for. Yes, because we have different intervals at which people carry out their work activities and their businesses. Yeah, so I think bringing or restricting them by 8, restricting the movement of Okada by 8, to me I think is uncalled for.
Government of Benue State believes that the restriction in the operation of Okada riders from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily would help improve the security situation across the state.
To stop Okada by 8 o'clock in Makurdi is good because 70% of we Okada, we take risk in the night because some other boys, they are jobless, they don't have nothing doing. They believe that they will use somebody's blood and survive, which is they're killing us in the night. To stop Okada in Makurdi is by 8 o'clock is very good because it's for our own safe, and to help our life.
The government of Benue State believes that the restriction in the operation of Okada riders from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily would help improve the security situation across the state.
The National Commission for Colleges of Education has nominated the Federal College of Education Technical Gombe for the implementation of the early grade reading for the program. The early grade reading program is to train teachers on how to teach children mother tongue and English language at the basic level. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
Speaking during an assessment visit to the FCET Gombe, the Executive Secretary, National Commission for Colleges of Education, Professor Paulinus Chijoke, said his team is satisfied by the level of preparedness at the FCET Gombe to kickstart the early grade reading program.
Well, from what we have seen, we can see the readiness of the college to kickstart this project. We are very impressed with what we have seen, and I assure you that so go back and make our reports and send to the relevant authority in no distant time. The project will kickstart in this place, just like other ones.
The Provost, Federal College of Education, Technical Gombe, Dr. Ali Adamu Boderi, assured to ensure successful implementation of the project.
I want to seize this opportunity to show our appreciation to our able ES for finding us worthy to kickstart or to implement the EGR model program. In fact, I think we remain indebted to him. And I want to assure him the Federal College of Education Technical Gombe, we are ready. You have seen that we are ready to kickstart the implementation of the program. I want to assure you once again that we are going to support the program 100%. Thank you, sir.
Dr. Jamil Minkaila is the Dean School of Early Childhood Care and Primary Education, FCET Gombe.
We have a problem of reading ability or literacy as far as our education system is concerned. The problem is that we used to have children that finished their first school, that is primary school, but you will see them having difficulty in reading both English and the mother tongue texts. Somebody who has attended such primary school before graduation should be able to read and write in English language and his mother tongue.
The Federal College of Education Technical Gombe is expected to start implementation of the early grade reading program in no distant future. Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Holiday schooling, also known as summer school or summer lessons, have become popular with parents and teachers in recent years in Nigeria. In it, parents arrange for students to continue attending classes during the long holidays, which are meant to be a rest period for children. In this report, we attempt to provide answers on the appropriateness or otherwise of these classes at a time children are supposed to take a break. The report.
For Tokula Florence, a teacher with a private school in Makurdi, there is some level of continuity in learning that goes on as a result of summer school. This, she argues, will not allow the children to forget what has been learned due to the length of the break.
They are here, they keep themselves up to date in their studies. By the time they resume back to school, most of the things that are being taught, they are the topics, new topic introduced to them, getting into their new classes. So whenever they resume, they don't find it difficult in picking up their studies.
The pupil in one of the summer schools in Makurdi says he is happy to learn at this time. He also says he will do better than his mates who are on holidays without classes.
I'm here for summer lesson. This is St. Teresa Private School. I'm here to learn. If schools resume, you know more about, well, like if the teacher teach you now, you know what, like the teacher teach you a new topic, they taught you the topic on the summer lesson, you are going to remember it, your brain will be fast at work.
To some, the summer school is an abuse on the pupils. This set agrees with curriculum planners that pupils should rest at some point, noting that continuous learning without a break can cause a strain on the mental well-being of the pupils.
Those who plan the curriculum, they are not wrong, or they have not done anything bad by making it in such a way that it will get to a time that children will be given a time or a period for them to rest at home.
To strike a balance in the holiday summer learning argument, some are of the opinion that the government should wade into and regulate the use of the long holiday period to ensure that pupils not only learn, but also rest during the long holiday period.
When you are away from home and they are at home playing, they may start thinking and going some other places that you wouldn't like as a parent. So I encourage there should be summer lessons.
The argument for or against summer lessons, many say, will continue to generate mixed reactions until a balance is reached, maybe through government intervention.
Days after reopening of Abuja's largest park, desperate fun seekers yearning to unwind at the famous Millennium Park were seen defying a cold, rainy weather to access the facility. Trust TV's Shafi'u Suleiman captures the moment some of the fun seekers dared the heavy downpour to relax after their busy working days. The report.
Behind me is the entrance of the Millennium Park. You know, a park that was conceived, designed and constructed some 22 years ago here in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, to provide avenue for fun seekers, you know, to find time, you know, to relax and of course after the day's job. It also create or rather provide an avenue for Abuja residents, you know, to, carry out various, you know, ceremonies like picnics, like birthday parties and what have you. But it was shut down, you know, on the 21st of December 2020 as a result, you know, of the COVID-19 pandemic. You know, since it was shut down, Abuja residents have been finding it a little bit difficult, you know, to access this facility and of course find time to relax. But now that the ban has been lifted precisely on the 1st of August this year, fun seekers are trooping in spite of the weather. For instance, today has been a rainy day, very chilly, and of course as the rain still drizzles, you find people coming in to catch fun or to have one or two events for themselves and their friends. But then they are also concerned about some of the guidelines that have been provided as a result of the COVID interventions, if you like, or restrictions. We'll talk to one of them here to tell us how exactly they are finding this regulation.
This is a period where the children are on holiday, and of course, having stayed in school for quite a number of weeks, I think that the period they are home, they need to have some time for relaxation. And of course, that is the basis why we felt as family we should come out here to have the serene, enjoy the serene weather and have ourselves relaxed under this very nice atmosphere of Millennium Park. On arriving here, we were told that each person were required to present their evidence of vaccination of COVID-19 vaccine. And of course, it became a thing of a surprise to all of us, because when it was officially declared open, we never knew about this guideline. It was just on arrival to this place that was made known to us.
I am very cheesy where the weather is, the rain is drizzling now, so it will be more fun.
Of course, it shows that they are really interested in accessing this facility anytime, any day. The shutdown that took place for over 2 years must have put them on the edge, and now they are hungry, to visit this facility once again. From Millennium Park in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, Shafi'u Suleiman, Trust TV News.
We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation that we are having with our guest in the studio, the Deputy President of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, Ali M. Ali. Do stay with us.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you're watching Daybreak on Trust TV special edition. It's our 1-year anniversary. And aside that, we're moving on to the first discussion, right here in the studio. And we already have our guest seated. He's the Deputy President, National Guild of Editors, Ali M. Ali. Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you, Sena.
Thank you very much, Ali. Of course, it's been a wonderful morning already, and from the stories we are having, especially from the front pages of today, it also, reflects happenings within the polity, especially as we inch closer again and again to the 2023 elections. This unending crisis in the PDP, for example, as reflected in today's front page of this morning, where the two sides are on extreme ends. Wike is saying that IU should be removed. Do you see Atiku, for example, sacrificing IU to compensate for Wike or to compensate Wike?
Well, before I answer that, I think you guys just said today is your 1-year anniversary. So I think congratulations are in order.
Thank you very much.
Trust Television is going places within just 12 months. I think it's making inroads. And so congratulations to all of you.
Thank you.
And I see some of us have greater skills, apart from writing, also talk.
Well,
yes, so
we are trying to manage the transition.
so I think congratulations are in order.
To all of us,
yes,
exactly.
to all of us. Yes,
Thank you.
Yes. So now, coming back to issues in the polity, and especially what's going on in the PDP, People's Democratic Party, and the unending tango between Wike on one hand, and of course Atiku, and well, whether IU will be a sacrificial lamb or not, I think it's just a matter of time. And I think if Wike were to look at it dispassionately, you can understand the anger and the hurt on the part of Wike, and why he thinks he is looking for a fall guy. Because it's untenable that the PDP will maintain the structure. Normally when you have a presidential candidate from the same political zone, if you like, or region, with the party chairman, at the end of it, when they go to the polls, and especially if they win, they triumph, the national chairman will have to be from somewhere else. It has happened. It has always been the tradition. I can give you instances. You understand? But you look at it now, for Wike to insist that IU must go. I think Wike wants to flex muscles to see that he controls, he has the PDP by the jugular. And to a large extent, he has. He has been solely responsible when a lot of people left the party. And this is sentiment I share with him. But you see, in politics, sometimes, like they say, it's all like, they say, he who pays the piper actually dictates the tune. He has been paying the piper until suddenly the owners of the party, and they are owners of the party. And incidentally, Wike is not one of those owners of the party.
Oh, really?
Yes, those who formed the party. You understand? From 1998, just like some people have this grand illusion about owning Nigeria. There are people who think they actually own Nigeria. They have this larger than life, they have this exaggerated, if you like, thought about they have more stake, and they have played critical roles in the evolution of Nigeria to what it is today, for good or for bad. You understand? And if you go, the Nigerian history. So coming back to this issue, I think Wike should tarry a while. This is my own understanding. Tarry a while. IU would definitely have to go at the appropriate time. That is if the the PDP triumphs at the general polls. But going by what's going on now in the party, if you like, the internal crisis bedeviling the party, chances are that if Wike continues to push this narrative, he may end up losing both ends of the stake. At both ends, because he will soon run. The more he pushes this narrative of being hurt, of being betrayed, of being if you like, even sabotage, throwing that in all directions. Politics is about bridge building. He is burning all his bridges. He's burning, destroying bridges he has built, consciously so. First, he was looking at governors from the southern part of the country who betrayed him at the PDP primaries. He tongue-lashed them. Then look at names, specific names. And Nigerian politics, unfortunately, not driven by any ideology, is a politics of convenience. What suits me? And at the end of the day, Wike may be home alone if he doesn't watch it. Already there are people, you can see a gradual depletion of his support base. And you can see the brickbats between him and some elements in the PDP. For example now, well, we know the open feud between him and Babangida Aliyu. These are specific elements who are opposed the likes of Sule Lamido. And Sule Lamido has been much of a party man as Wike. Sule Lamido has never, even for a moment, left the PDP. He has always been faithful, a founding member. He has been in the political trenches far longer than Wike. So I see Wike being a little bit hasty, Usaida. If he takes his time, probably at the appropriate time, he may end up having his wish. But for now to insist that Ayu should go, yes, Ayu would go definitely, because what, like some people are making the reference, what is the PDP selling to other Nigerians? If you look at all the visible elements in the party, are from one section of the country. Just like APC is having problem selling the same faith ticket, PDP is having this perception problem that the presidential candidate is from the north, the party chairman is from the north, BOT chairman is from the north, and then some people are stretching the northernization of the PDP even to something that has not happened, like naming names as the director generals of of the campaign, which is not true. You understand? So this is it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, now some are actually saying that Atiku and Wike camps, are to meet in Abuja over, the PDP crisis, and this has actually happened. This type of meeting has actually happened, more than once or even more than twice. Why is it that they're still unable to actually, come to an agreement? And also, if you remember, last week he invited the APC chieftains to actually commission a project, projects in Rivers State. What does this actually say?
It's politics. It's politics. It's playing politics. You understand? Duque may not have the same savvy as some elements in the PDP. He may not be that, Wike is, my understanding is that he's a very down-to-earth person. Very, if you like, even pedestrian. But you see, yeah, and that's why with him, what you see is what you get. This is my reading of the man. But you see, politics, there is a lot of guile there. There is a lot of double speak. Unless you learn to read the body language, and in all fronts, Wike is coming short in the body language, non-verbal communication kind of thing. Now, bringing in APC elements to commission projects, bringing in PDP elements to commission projects. For example, recently there was this exchange between him and Bajamia Mila, Speaker of the House of Reps, at the commissioner of the legislative quarters, which you must say that Wike, like somebody described him as a projectsman. Yeah, he's done a lot for Rivers State, infrastructure-wise, and he's even done more politically for himself. You understand, building these bridges across the nation, but which systematically he's destroying again by his own inability to come to terms that in this game there will be winners, there will be vanquished, and you should be gracious in victory as just as like you should be humble in defeat, not throwing tantrums. Because plus minus, how old is Wike? He's still under 60. Atiku has lost elections severally. I'm not justifying the fact that they are not reaching out, they have not come to a truce. I'm not justifying that. What I'm saying is that he is coming across as a sore loser, a bad loser. You understand? But you see, coming back to this, another coming together, it's good to talk. Like they say, it's better to jaw than to war. Perhaps communication, in the first place, is communication gap that actually caused this whole thing. And the fact that people underestimated, some of the elements underestimated Wike's heart, Wike's inability to come. He's never lost election. He's a fighter, he's never, but come to think of it, how many elections has he faced beyond Rivers State? 0, apart from the primaries. National politics is way different from local politics. Like they say, all politics is local. I agree. But you see, when you come to the center stage, so there are rumors that Atiku did not get the support of his home governor. These are rumors, but have gained traction. But not for a moment has Atiku looked in the direction of his home governor to say, you betrayed me. Because this is politics. It's a clock and dagger game. Now, coming back again, and coming back to whether the meet will bring any truth, I think Wike may not know it, but it's at his status end. He's at the end very soon if he goes on like this, because this is politics. And I don't see any worst case scenario is that he rock the boat and the PDP loses. The PDP looks very good if only it can mend and accommodate the Wike factor. And what are his demands? At the end of the day, they can resolve this issue, accommodate its interests. I'm aware, which is not public, well, at least the grapevine says that there are certain conditions apart from Ayu must go. But Ayu should go after the election. This is the argument of the PDP, that he cannot dictate where Ayu, and for the sake of national cohesion of the party, yes, Ayu should leave. But then they have their own reason why Ayu will remain till the election. So you see, either way, in conflict resolution, we are resolving a conflict, you should meet midway. Okay? This is how it's going to roll. But you cannot, at the same time, yes, the Wike factor is very strong. It's very, very strong. You can't dismiss it like that. But at the same time, like I said, there are people already who are saying, look, we should go beyond him, that we can win, which is dangerous. It's a very, for the PDP to think that they can win without Wike support in Rivers. There are three major votes bank in Nigeria: Lagos, Kano. These are the two major votes bank.
So are you saying that, you know...
And then Rivers, a distant third.
Okay, so are you saying that, you know, the crisis would actually hurt the chances of the PDP winning the elections?
Absolutely. Absolutely, it would. Look, put it on paper now. Look at where is the support base of the PDP nation? Where is the support base of Atiku Abubakar? The Northeast? The Northeast, 6 states, is neck to neck. APC has 3 states, PDP has 3 states. Northwest, apart from Sokoto, where else? You understand? And then you come to the North Central. Where? Benue? Where else? I'm saying Benue is about the only place that has a PDP governor. But you see, Atiku has defended his voice. He said he has supported in all the parties, which is true, because he has navigated the political space for over 3 decades, since 1991 or 2, when he made his first foray into partisan politics, at least in elective post. He has maintained that close ties. And in fact, Ayu and Atiku are from the same political leanings way back in the ill-fated Third Republic. So, but if you look at it on paper, you understand? On paper, you look at it. The Rivers has consistently been PDP. Even notwithstanding that one of the leading lights of the APC, who prosecuted Buhari's two successful election as the Director General, is from Rivers State. That is Rotimi Amechi. But even Rotimi Amechi, as tough as he is, notwithstanding he was a political ally to Wike, has not been able to deliver Rivers to APC. So yes, if you dismiss the Wike threat or challenge, you'll be doing it at your own peril. That is the PDP now. They will pay dearly for it. But then look at it, where else will Wike pitch his tent? The
That's
APC?
the big question. That's the big question. And
Yes.
of course, despite all the romance
Yes.
with the PDP and APC politicians last week, it still remains a puzzle if he will take the plunge.
Yes.
But then, what a point you made about PDP's traditional support base, give rise to this puzzle in my mind. Like, how do you see the impact, or should I say effect, of the very swaying movement of Peter Obi in these areas that were otherwise, hitherto traditional support base of the PDP? Will it affect, how much will it affect the PDP?
Especially perhaps when you say the Southeast, for example. The South has been very faithful to the PDP all these years. It has been very faithful to the PDP. And now suddenly the PDP has not been as faithful to the Southeast, especially in the zoning or allocation or distribution of elected posts. And the APC and the PDP is hot. But look at who are the leading lights in the Southeast? They're still the PDP. Inamani, Ikiromadu, notwithstanding his legal battles in faraway UK. And then this other gentleman that was the PDP Senate president who ran for Ayim. These are the leading lights. These are the heavyweight of the Southeast politics. Where are they now? Are they a Labour Party? They're still in PDP. Now, Imamani only last week said, look, yes, Obi is from, but then he's in PDP. Now, the Obi challenge, the Labour Party challenge, or the Obi challenge, look at, yes, young people now. This is where you say young people, they are the ones romanticizing Peter Obi, romanticizing Labour Party. And it's understandable so. And look, we cannot just dismiss that challenge. Young people elsewhere, they're responsible for change, political change that has happened elsewhere. In Ukraine, the Orange Revolution was caused mainly by young people. The Arab Spring was fueled and fired by young people. You understand? Even in France, when Macron formed his party and upset the big weights there, Le Pen and others, you understand, it was fired by, way back, even Obama actually used the Twitter to mobilize young people. Now, and that's why perhaps people are saying that maybe there is a renaissance or there is this upsurge or this excitement about Peter Obi by young people. And these young people, where are they? They are on social media, on cyberspace, on Twitter, and they articulate young and very brash. And this, if you have supporters like this, God help you at the polls. Because already they're antagonizing a lot of people, level-headed people, individuals. So how do I see that? How do I see him making impact? Yes, you make some impact in cyberspace. Because there are no polling units in cyberspace, on social media. Most of the people argue rightly. And at crunch time, the old guard will rein in these young people. It has happened before. Elsewhere, when there was a referendum for Ireland to exit from the UK, until the old people rallied round. At the time, these young people, they have no consequence. They have no sense of history. You understand? The old guard rallied around and said, look, we're not going to exit from the UK. And this is how the referendum nearly, it was a close call. So I see that happening, unless, of course, there is some kind of a rebirth on the part of Wike. No, not Wike, I beg your pardon, Obi. You see, what's happening now here is that Obi's antecedents, he has ruffled a lot of feathers across the Niger. His political trajectory, he may have sound ideas, very sound ideas. He has specific ideas about the economy, about how to save cost, very good. But let me tell you this, once former head of state, military head of state, General Babangida was asked this question. I'm trying to recall the exact period when he said, look, government is not about saving money. It's about making life easy for the citizens. You understand? But you see, also government is not about waste. So there's a difference between waste and saving money. And the Nigerian government has a history of waste and so much leakages. Obi has specific ideas how to pluck this waste on paper.
Okay.
And we've been bamboozled by people speaking so grandly. But at the level of delivery, they spoke big, plan big, but deliver at the height of a pygmy. And unfortunately, in a way, Peter Obi, with his grandiose, lofty vision he's sketching all the time, maybe to the unwary, to the uninitiated, to the young people, because they don't know anything else, that may appeal to them. But at crunch time, you see what's likely to happen.
Okay, now earlier you talked about, the crisis in the PDP, if not settled, taking a toll, during the elections, on the party. Even the APC is not without, its own crisis as well. So, with, both crises, fueling both major parties, that's the PDP and the APC, do you see a third force? I don't know which of, the parties, but do you see a third force, having an edge over these two political parties? Because if you're talking about the APC right now, there's actually, a lot of anger, mostly at the fact that, the APC chairman has refused to refund money for the nomination forms. This is actually what is trending right about now.
Well, let me just say, you see conflicts. Conflicts are inevitable in any thriving organization. This is a fact. But how do you resolve that conflict is what matters. Conflicts are inevitable. They are unavoidable so long the system is thriving, is alive and kicking. Where there is zero conflict, it's a dead place. But the ability to resolve this conflict is what matters. I recall in the days of Obasanjo as president, every now and again, he would remove a Senate president. At his behest, he will be removed. Then they will say it's a family crisis, it's a family affair, it will be resolved. And it will be accommodated. They have this amazing capacity, almost inelastic capacity to accommodate various interests. Does the APC have that? If it does, then this will be a thing of the past. But look at it critically. The APC is the architect of its own problems. The political leadership, the chairman of the party, actually, if you like, is the elephant in the room. From the time he was appointed chairman of the Reconciliation Committee before he became chairman. At that moment, from that moment, his first utterance was that there was not going to be any rotation. If you recall, he addressed the president, said, look, he does not believe in rotation. And he walked that talk when he eventually became the chairman. How would someone with such known position, he walked that talk up to the time of the primaries? That's how the likes of Amelon were drafted into the race. And in fact, somehow shoved down the truth of Nigerians, at least APC elements, that look, he is the chosen preferred, what's the name? Consensus candidate. Until the likes of the governors, actually, well, credit is given to the governors, but you must also give it to Tinubu. He had anticipated that. And if you remember, days before that, the Abeokuta outburst.
Abeokuta speech.
Yeah, it was an outburst.
Yeah.
And look, he said, and then look at the response of the APC chairman at the time, that people who spoke ill of the president will be punished.
Yeah.
So you expect now there is Tinubu emerge against the wishes of the APC apparatchik. Against the wishes. Tinubu is the man who people said defeated number 2 in the primaries, defeated number 3, and others, let me use this very word in social media, wannabes, in the race to emerge top. And his victory was foretold because the APC all along had not been able to build the kind of influence, the national leader of the party. That's the president. But you see, even at that, Tinubu was really revered as the national leader. The first time. Normally the party, the governor or the president is the party's leader. But somehow, Tinubu found a way of being addressed as the party leader. It shows you that he's the real McCoy. He's the guy, the go-to guy. So how do you see reconciliation happening now with the elephant in the room, that is the party chairman? But that's aside. Yes, given Tinubu's ability to weaver, to meander, you must give it to Tinubu. Perhaps without Tinubu's influence, probably Buhari would never have been president. Of course, Buhari was a bankable project. He has consistently have 10, 11 million votes. So all he needed was a few millions from across the Niger, and then the mandatory 25%. And Tinubu came in, and even the influence on Tinubu, you could see that the difference wasn't that much, but it was said that Tinubu persuaded a skeptical elite deploying his media empire and a consortium of PR specialists They now rebranded Buhari. We've not forgotten so soon. So Tinubu, right now, or let's look, forget all pretensions. He cannot be in the good books of the APC chairman. In fact, I had expected the crowd for the APC chairman to go by now, with Tinubu now being the but you see Tinubu being the astute politician that he is.
All right, so well,
You
we have
understand?
to actually stop you there. We'll continue with this discussion when we come back after this commercial break.
Thank you.
Jama'a ga wata muhimmiyar sanarwa, hukumar raya birnin tarayya Abuja da haɗin gwiwar dukkanin harɗawa shugabannin rigage na Fulani da ƙungiyar Miyatta Allah reshen birnin tarayya Abuja dukkaninsu suna bayyana damuwarsu akan yadda waɗansu mutane suke sakin shanu suna kiwo sakaka a birnin tarayya Abuja. Don haka hukumar raya birnin tarayya Abuja da ta kare muhalli ta birnin suna sanar da dukkanin al'umma tare da gargaɗi akan cewa an hana kiwo na shanu da sauran dabbobi da tsuntsaye a cikin birnin domin suna haddasa bata muhalli da kuma cunkoson ababen hawa a cikin wannan birni. Saboda haka duk wanda aka samu ya karya wannan doka zai fuskanci hukunci kasancewar akwai gurin da hukumar raya birnin tarayya Abuja ta ware domin kiwo a cikin su. Don haka tabbatar ka bi doka ka kuma haɗa hannu da hukumar raya birnin tarayya Abuja domin tabbatar da tsaftar wannan birni. Wannan sako ne daga hukumar tsaftace muhalli ta birnin tarayya Abuja.
With me today is the Governor of Kano State, His Excellency Dr. Umar Abdullahi Ganduji.
First of all, I have to congratulate you, the Media Trust, that has given birth to the Daily Trust. And now the Media Trust is giving another birth to Trust TV.
My guest today is the Executive Governor of Plateau State, His Excellency Simon Bako Lalong.
Thank you very much, and also opportunity, and I congratulate you for introducing the television because Daily Trust has always been my people.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you.
Welcome back. It's been Daybreak on Trust TV, and we've been talking to Ali reviewing the the political scene in the last week, and it's been we continue the conversation right about now. And Ali, if you look at these other parties, we've mentioned that you were talking about it when we went on break. The two major parties are not without crisis.
Yes.
But do you see anybody taking advantage to snatch the baton from any of these two gladiators?
Well, what I can tell you is that if some of the projections come to pass, I don't see a clear-cut winner between Atiku and Tinubu in the first ballot that will compel horse trading, realignment. Because in the southeast now, you have an emerging force. But I just said that emerging force may not translate into electoral asset. In the northwest, and especially where there is another vote bank, Kano, Jigawa, Katsina, there is also the NNPP challenge, especially in Kano. You can't dismiss that, you can't discountenance that. But in the final analysis, when the push at crunch time, it will be these two horse race, I mean. So, but you see, maybe there may not be a clear-cut winner in the first ballot, like it's happening in, what country is going through?
Kenya?
Kenya, you understand? So, I see realignment of forces, it will compel realignment of forces. This is perhaps what Hussein is saying, a third force. I don't see that third force actually coming that together, but I may see a realignment of forces. And already there are hints now, for example, the NNPP presidential candidate, Rabi Musa Konkoso, one time hinted that if he doesn't get it, he's prepared to work for Tinubu. He may be flying a kite, you understand? But if we get to the polls and the projections don't happen the way they should, but make no mistake about this, the two dominant leading presidential contenders are Atiku and Tinubu. That is the APC and the PDP. But the PDP is now, right now, like we said, the wicked challenge. If finally they resolve that naughty issue, and if some other people walk their talk, especially the likes of Dogara, the likes of Babachir, because they are still angry, they say they want to teach, they want to punish the APC, they want to teach them. I don't know in electoral terms, because like I always say, politicians look at numbers. What are you, when in Abuja, there are no gender, no male, no female, no kids. We're only looking at voters. This is what they say in Washington. In Washington, there are no people, there are only voters. You understand? So I see that maybe it will compel some realignment of forces, some new alliances, some new coalition, if there is no clear winner in the first ballot. That is, if there is. But if the crisis bedeviling, especially the PDP, continues unresolved?
Well, we'll continue the conversation, but you know, right now we have a guest joining us live via Skype, and of course the conversation is still around politics, and this time around on the participation of youth in politics. Historically, youth and women remain key, of course, as we all know, in determining election. What influence would a group of people have you know, in the 2023 general elections? We're joining, you know, we have been joined via Zoom from Bauchi by Director of Strategic Communication, Coalition of Northern Groups, Samaila Musa. Good morning, Samaila, and thank you for joining us.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, so, you know, we've been talking about the place of youth, especially in, you know, upcoming 2023 elections. And, you know, the fact that perhaps there is no space for the young people in the dominant two major parties. What are you doing to break into this, and also maybe perhaps use other alternative platforms for the young people? Is it something that you think is doable for the next election?
Okay, thank you. We also are very conscious of what you just said. And that's one of the reasons why we put up this retreat that we're having in the Yankari Game Reserve here in Bauchi State. You know, it's about re-strategizing. It's about having the young people at heart, because you see, unfortunately, they are the largest in terms of population, you know, the strata of people in our society. But and unfortunately as well, they seems to be the most uneducated in terms of elections. So there's that need. You know, we started some programs just sometimes back, not too long ago, about, you know, trying to compel them to go get their PVCs. But, you know, in the history of Nigeria, the sensitization has never been this, you know, this prominent. Like within the shortest time that so many people came on board to join in actually calling out the young people to go get their PVCs. The turnout has never been this this large. So that's encouraging. But in the whole, you're going to have a lot of them who don't believe in the system in the long run. I'm talking about when the election is around the corner, except if maybe something, you know, very, maybe some desperate measures, and I mean, from the angle of the government and through INEC, it's been put in place. Number one is a lot of youths have lost hope in the system. They don't believe there's anything that's going to, you know, favor them. Number two, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but we just have a few more minutes. So in just like 1 minute, now a lot of youths have actually been, you know, accused of political apathy. Now with the governorship elections that actually happened in Ekiti and Osun State, would you say it is still the case?
Well, of course, you know, it's still the case actually, but like I said earlier, you know, a lot of youths are now becoming more aware, you know, of what's happening around them. But I tell you one thing that is going to play out that's going to be very key is the fact that a lot of Nigerian youth don't feel they're not still convinced that their vote is going to count in the long run. you're going to have a lot of social media, warlords, and then the country is so divided on social media, mainly the youth actually. So many of this are going to be playing out in the long run. But by and large, I think it's the right way to go. Because going by the number of PVCs that we have by the statistics to INEC, it's actually encouraging. And they're talking about this voter apathy among the Nigerian youth. I mean, you actually can't take that away. So, but with time, we're going to surmount all these issues.
Okay, thank you very much, Smaila, for joining us.
So, but I can tell you for a fact that...
Smaila, I'm a director of...
Okay, let me just quickly add...
Coalition for Northern Groups. Thank you very much. Okay, and with this, we come to the end of today's edition of Daybreak on Trust TV. And we want to say thank you to our guest in the studio, Deputy President of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, Malam Ali Ali. Thank you very much for staying with us.
Thank you, and congratulations one more time.
Thank you.
Okay,
for Trust TV 1 year anniversary.
Thank you very much, and we hope to have you another time on the program. And viewers, thank you very much for staying with us. I'm Abdulaziz. Have a good day.
And I'm Darshan Husseina Usman. Have a wonderful week ahead.